I had the absolute pleasure of meeting Pat O'Donnell even before I started my first official day at WellSpan. I remember meeting him during the interview process, and he was so welcoming. When I've joined Pat to visit care teams in Franklin County, it's always been so clear to me how respected and loved he is by the teams he's served. You can feel the energy when he walks in the room. He's built such a special culture of caring for our community. Pat's also extremely hardworking and has contributed so much of himself to the mission of Summit Health and WellSpan Health for 34 years. When you look back to the impact of those decades of service, it's immense. Pat has filled many roles during his tenure: controller, chief financial officer, and president and CEO of Summit Health. He's also given a lot of himself to the Franklin County community, serving on many volunteer boards. We know of Pat's generous and kind heart, supporting philanthropy and countless other organizations. As we reflect on his time here, it is with our deepest gratitude and appreciation. While this is bittersweet for us, we know his personality and the culture he developed will live on, and that the strides he made to establish comprehensive, quality care close to home will continue. So, in honor of a phrase that Pat really made his own, we honor your contributions, your care, and your dedication in all ways, always. Pat, we wish you and Pam the very best in retirement. Thank you.
Pat had the amazing ability as a numbers person to also be a people person. So, he made the transition from a financial function within the organization at Summit over to leadership flawlessly.
He was very strategic. He had a vision for what he thought Franklin County needed.
He was a lovable guy. He was smart, and it made you felt good working under him.
Pat has an awesome sense of humility. He accepts praise and accolades with a smile and a thank you, and then credits those around him for their parts in his success.
This guy isn't about himself. This guy's about other people.
Brings out the best in the people around him, and he lets his team excel.
He believed in me, and so I'm very appreciative of that.
He mixed intelligence with a financial acumen, as well as compassion and humility. And I think everybody respected him for that.
He's probably one of the most generous people I've ever met, and he has amazing sense of values.
Pat is one of the most approachable people that I've worked with from a leadership perspective. If you were walking down the hall and he passed an employee, he would look you in the eye, he would acknowledge you, he'd be like, "Hey John, how's it going?" So he, from a CEO perspective, is actually pretty amazing.
Even sometimes when Pat didn't necessarily agree with the group, he would listen to what people had to say.
There's a lot of involvement of his staff.
He brought a very participatory style of leadership.
I think Pat's leadership style is really down to earth. He listened to understand, and he based his decisions on real information and humility.
Pat was very intelligent, but he always had the ability to make us laugh and lighten up meetings that otherwise would have been tedious. A day without sunshine is night, and Pat always brought sunshine.
He is a unique person, and he doesn't like it when I say that, but he is. He just has a strong moral compass too, and I think that I don't want to cry either. He's just a good person.
Pat was friends with every single person on every single level of our organization, and his leadership style was to assume good intent and to respect everybody. And he fostered this family vibe where we all knew the work we were doing was really serious, but we also had fun and we looked forward to coming in every day.
He feels from the heart, and Whenever I was challenged with something or I needed a coach, Pat was my go-to person.
He meets you where you are and accepts you for the person you just really are. He cares about you both professionally and personally.
Pat is one of those rare individuals that if you are in the room, in his sphere, in his vicinity, you feel as if you're the only person that he's interested in.
I really consider Pat just like a brother, like the older, cooler brother.
You know, Pat's one of those people that likes people, just appreciated everything, appreciated your advice. He appreciated and respected your thoughts on things. And that just meant so much to me.
You know, as I watched Pat interact and connect with the nurses, you could really see that Pat was able to kind of see it from their perspective, that perspective of being the nurse, and how their daily work impacted the community.
He's from Chambersburg. He's a Chambersburg native. He's always been for the people and patients of Chambersburg, and also the way he deals with people. It's always in honest and friendship and with good humor, and he's an excellent listener.
Pat always wanted the local health system to be, truly ingrained in the community, to keep everybody healthy and safe.
He has a great deal of empathy. Every decision that, was brought to us as a board was always made with, how is this going to affect, first of all, the patients and then employees.
And just making sure that the community was always put first. Our patients were always put first.
Pat always did the absolute best and right thing. He put the patient at the top of every single decision, even when that was the hard decision. And he always wanted to be transparent and tell the truth.
I was appreciative of the importance that he placed on the patient-centered medical home, particularly over the last few years. I was really thankful for the support that the organization has provided us and making that a priority on our HOSHN planning.
His focus was patient safety and obviously making sure the communities were well taken care of.
And I know what really drove him to support bringing the NICU here to Chambersburg was the community need.
You didn't just see him as a CEO in that, right? You saw him as someone who was leading this organization and very concerned about those patients that were in that NICU and concerned about their family. You saw him connect.
This was his community. In marketing and public relations, a lot of times the materials, we would coin the phrase our friends and neighbors. And that came from Pat saying that over and over genuinely in meetings, because really the people that the healthcare was supporting were literally Pat's friends and Pat's neighbors.
Well, I thought Pat was always aware of the needs of the community, and he helped to identify the needs, ensure that all of the members of this community who need healthcare services their needs are met.
His focus on access for everyone, I think, drove him to making Summit one of the best health systems it could be.
The amount of service that is provided to those who may be underprivileged or not be able to afford health care and things like that, the amount that WellSpan does in the community is remarkable.
And where he's taken quality, has been absolutely extraordinary in raising the organization to a whole new level.
The lean program he brought to the hospital and Summit Health was just propelled us ahead of the rest.
When he became CEO, he put a strong emphasis on quality and patient safety. I think that's exhibited by the Leapfrog A scores and our CMS scores and ratings.
He took the responsibility for the community real seriously. A lot of sleepless nights.
He's been there to help Summit to expand and to grow and to serve the community in a wider way. His impact goes way, way deep.
Pat has very astutely positioned the organization for the long-term future.
I just want to say thank you to Pat for being awesome. When, frankly,
nothing else would have accomplished what he accomplished, except for being awesome, and he was.
Working with Pat, it never felt like a job. It felt like, going to camp. I've been to a number of talks where we had to put a certain word in a speech, and he always managed to do that. Always joking around, but getting the work done. And
we would go to a leadership meeting, and it would have an introduction. You know how if you watch a movie and it had the lion roar, he put on this wig and it made him look like a lion, and so he was doing the roaring. So that's kind of a funny one.
I make homemade kombucha. So it's been in my bag an hour coming from Hagerstown to work, going up the steps. So when I go to open my bottle of kombucha, it imploded. It wasn't just a little small bubbles. No, it flew all over his office. I could not get the lid back on. It sprayed all over the office.
One time I almost hit Pat with my car by accident and backed him over. And now sometimes when he sees me in the hallway, he will say beep, beep, beep to warn people I'm coming.
He was packing his lunch and he accidentally put imitation crab meat, which is refrigerated, in his desk. And it had been there for weeks, at least weeks. And it's horrible. Well, when he touched the bag, it caused the seal of the bag to break. And so he brings it out and he's gagging. It smelled like somebody had died in his office.
And I'm sure lots of people have talked to you about his socks and or lack thereof.
So for Halloween, there's something imprinted in my mind of this Halloween suit that he came in orange and black with pumpkins, tie, socks, and he was screaming Halloween.
My fondest memories are several. One is he and Norm kind of singing a parody dressed in makeup. And it's from 1994, which is many years ago.
Yes, he's been dressed as a number of things. He's been dressed as Santa Claus. I've seen him dressed as a pregnant nun. He's got the most awful, awful, awful Christmas sweaters.
I'll never forget Pat going into the NICU at Christmas time in a Santa suit, and they recorded him, and I'm not an emotional type of person, but that really made me quite emotional.
Really, my favorite part of Santa Pat was when, after the photo op was over, he went over with the parents, and I overheard him giving a dad pep talk.
Playing golf with him, John Massimilla, and others. Those are memories I'll always cherish.
He has a way of just turning meetings into fun, and he still is getting his point across, and he's still conveying important messages, but doing it with great finesse and humor.
I'll miss everything about Pat, but some of his style, his just easygoing nature, and his ability to bring some levity to even a serious situation.
I'm just really going to miss him. I think he's one of the best leaders that I probably worked for, so we will miss him. He's taken us on this great journey together, and I really appreciate that. We'll miss him.
I think he supported everyone on senior management, and I'll miss that support and knowing that he's always got my back.
I will miss just having that friend. I'll miss his kindness, and I'll just miss him.
If anybody deserves a happy, relaxing retirement, it's Pat, and I wish him the best.
Thank you so much for touching my life, encouraging me as a leader, and making a difference in our community.
I'd like to thank Pat for his dedication and commitment to the community. He was an inspiration to all he touched. We wish him the best.
I'm going to miss the fact that if I knew that I needed him, I knew that he would be in here to listen.
If I could choose a leader to follow, it would be Pat O'Donnell. I'm so thankful that our paths crossed 18 years ago.
We, as a board, also extend our thanks to his family, specifically Pam, because they have shared him with Summit very generously for decades.
I will miss everything about that guy. I mean, his generosity. I've never seen a guy so generous. You know, his compassion for the less fortunate and you know, is unbelievable. I think the thing I miss the most is his humor. I mean, I tell people it's like working with Will Ferrell. I mean, he's one of the smartest guys I know, and also one of the funniest guys I know. He's one of a kind. That's all I can say.
I mean, everybody says, will you work again? He says no. Except now he tells me maybe he'll be a male model, a stand-up comedian, and a chef. Oh, and a professional golfer. So he has all kinds of plans.